You know, I never thought a red light on Fifth Avenue could freeze time for me. But that day, yeah, it happened. Robert Ellis, a 45-year-old businessman used to the fast pace of Manhattan, was just waiting in his Mercedes, tapping his fingers, when something made his blood run cold. A skinny black kid, maybe 12, weaving through traffic selling candy. Nothing unusual, except that around this kid's neck was a silver butterfly necklace, diamond-encrusted, the exact same one Robert had made for his daughter last Christmas. Sophie, the little girl who vanished 4 days ago without a trace. Before he even thought, Robert swung open the door. "Hey kid, wait." But the boy bolted, street-smart, fast. Knowing a white man yelling never meant good things, Robert chased him down, ignoring honks and curses from the stopped traffic. "Where did you get that necklace?" The boy stopped, panting, eyes sharp and wary. "I didn't steal it, sir." "Swear I didn't." Robert's voice was shaking, but firm. "I know. That belonged to my daughter. She's missing." The kid hesitated, then whispered, "I found a girl. Hurt. Hiding in an old building in the Bronx. Thought she was dead, but she gave me this. Said to find her dad." Robert's head spun. "Where? Where is she?" The boy, Marcus, bit his lip. "I took care of her 3 days. She's alive. But she told me who did this. It's not normal kidnapping." Robert's spine stiffened. For days of begging police, hiring detectives, posting rewards, and it was this street kid nobody saw who found Sophie. "Take me to her," Robert said, fumbling for his keys. Marcus looked around nervously. "Wait. You gotta know something first. Who left her there? It was someone you know. Someone you trust. And if I'm right, this was all planned to destroy you too." Robert froze. "What do you mean?" Marcus looked straight at him, voice low. "David Mitchell. Your best friend." That name hit like a bullet. David, the man who'd been family, Sophie's godfather, business partner. The one who'd comforted Robert when his wife died. The same David who'd urged Robert to hire more security lately, warning about danger. They rode the subway to the Bronx, Marcus spilling details that turned Robert's stomach. Sophie had been hiding in a filthy basement, dehydrated, wrists bruised like she'd been tied up. She kept whispering, "Uncle David," crying every time. Marcus stopped in front of a graffiti-covered building. "She's down there." Robert's heart hammered as he descended the dark stairs, finding Sophie curled on a dirty mattress, clutching a teddy bear he didn't recognize. Her voice was a faint whisper, "Daddy." The dark circles under her eyes told stories no child should carry. Robert wrapped her in his arms like fragile glass. "You're safe now." But questions flooded his mind. How did David know? Why push for security only now? Sophie whispered, "Uncle David said it was a game you knew about, but then he got angry on the phone, yelling about money and contracts. He said if I told, bad things would happen to you too." Marcus watched silently, arms crossed. "Sir, there's more. David's been moving money, signing papers while you were distracted searching. He's been using your trust to loot your company." Robert's face went pale. Over the last days, David had stepped into Robert's shoes at work, with full access to everything. Marcus dropped Robert's phone. The boy had overheard David laughing about it like a joke. 20 years of friendship shattered in moments. David had kept Robert away from the police, saying, "Let's wait. Maybe she's just lost." Robert realized now. It was to buy time to finish the financial hit. Then Marcus dropped the last bombshell. "David isn't alone. Yesterday, I saw him meeting 2 men in suits. One's a politician famous for preaching family values. The other, a cop who's been keeping the investigation off track." Robert's world spun. This was no petty betrayal. It was a conspiracy to ruin him, taking advantage of grief and trust. But holding Sophie and looking at Marcus, the invisible street kid who'd saved them, something shifted inside Robert. Pain turned to fierce determination. "Marcus," he said quietly, "you want to help me take these guys down?" The boy nodded like it was the obvious choice. "Good, because they don't know I didn't get where I am by being naive." Over the next day, while Sophie recovered in a hospital under a false name, Robert went dark. No media, no detectives. David called, pretending to care, but Robert had already made his move. He rented a modest apartment near Marcus's neighborhood in the Bronx. If he was going to fight, he needed real eyes, not bought investigations. Marcus became Robert's best asset. He knew every corner, every blind spot, every forgotten camera. More than that, He was invisible to David and his cronies. One morning, Marcus returned grinning. That politician meeting David? Found where he stays. And it's not somewhere his wife would approve. Then came Elena Rodriguez, a tough financial crimes attorney from a local legal aid clinic. Smart, fierce, and fueled by hatred for men like David. Uncovering wire transfers from David's personal accounts. Irrefutable proof of theft. Marcus eavesdropped on careless conversations revealing meeting places, secret payments. And a third accomplice in the police. The plan was to stage a fake rescue within 48 hours, making David look like the hero while robbing Robert blind. Robert's anger boiled cold. This wasn't just betrayal. It was corruption, manipulation, and cruelty. Yet the best news was the evidence Elena had. Concrete, undeniable, ready for court. Tuesday came, gray and heavy. The day of the showdown. David swaggered into an Italian restaurant, dressed like a king, smug with confidence. Marcus, disguised as a delivery boy, sat nearby with a hidden mic. Feeding every word to Elena, parked a few blocks away. David greeted the politician and cop, sliding envelopes with cash, laughing at how easily they fooled Robert. But then Marcus stood, calm but firm. "Gentlemen, I have something that belongs to you, and you're live." David paled as Marcus revealed cameras, reporters, FBI agents, all in place, watching, recording, broadcasting. The room froze. Robert appeared, followed by Elena and federal agents. Friends don't kidnap their friends' daughters. They don't steal companies. And they don't laugh about a child's pain. David tried to plead, but the evidence was overwhelming. Kidnapping, extortion, laundering, conspiracy. Marcus pulled up the live stream. 500,000 views and trending #Justice for Sophie. David's company crashed, his family fell apart, his career ended in disgrace. As David was handcuffed, he looked back, defeated. "How did a street kid and a desperate father destroy me?" he muttered. Robert hugged Marcus, watching the crowd outside cheer. The answer was simple. David had underestimated everyone but himself. Power without justice is hollow. 6 months later, Robert sat in his new firm's office, looking out over Manhattan, no longer just profit-driven, but purposeful. Marcus, now 13, wearing a private school uniform, handed him a report. "We helped 250 kids off the streets this quarter." The Marcus and Sophie Foundation, funded partly by recovered assets, was changing lives. Sophie, in therapy, had legally adopted Marcus as her brother. She said simply, "He saved me first." Elena joined them, now legal director of the foundation, reporting that David was serving 25 years. The corrupt politician humiliated, and the crooked cop vanished into obscurity. The viral live stream had sparked a movement against corruption, ordinary people realizing they could fight back. One afternoon, driving home from school, Sophie asked, "Dad, have you forgiven Uncle David?" Robert paused. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It means not letting his anger control us. Robert got a call from the governor about expanding their social programs. Sophie and Marcus looked at him, pride in their eyes. "You know what's the craziest part?" Sophie said, fiddling with her butterfly necklace. "Uncle David thought he knew you, but he only knew who you pretended to be. When he saw who you really are, it was too late." Marcus laughed. "It's like chess. You let your opponent think he's winning while you set the pieces. By the time he sees, the game's over." Meanwhile, for 100 miles away, David sat in his cell, rereading news of the family he tried to destroy. His wife remarried. Kids changed their names, fortune gone. What tortured him wasn't prison. It was knowing Robert and Marcus had built something greater from his destruction. Robert closed his laptop. The drawings Sophie made spread out before him. Family wasn't blood, it was choice. Marcus came in to say goodnight. "Mr. Robert, can I ask, do you think this all would have happened if Uncle David hadn't been so greedy?" Robert smiled. "Maybe not. Sometimes bad people do us the greatest favor, showing us who we really are. And that's the real victory. Not seeing David behind bars, but watching Sophie laugh again, Marcus graduate. And hundreds of families healed through their foundation born from pain and turned to hope. Because the best revenge? It's not destruction. It's building something so meaningful that their evil becomes irrelevant. Proof that love and justice win when brave people refuse to accept injustice as fate. So what do you think, folks? Was Robert right to stay quiet, play smart, and take down his enemies from the shadows? Or should he have fought loud and public from the start? Share your thoughts below, because justice, trust, and betrayal aren't just stories. They're questions we all have to answer. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real-life tales of courage, family, and fighting back when everything's against you. Sometimes you lose everything to find what really matters.